Hello everyone, welcome to the AutoCAD 2021 tutorial. This is Manal Abdul. I'd love to welcome you to part 2 of this tutorial. In part 1, we've talked about introduction to AutoCAD using zoom and pan, saving AutoCAD drawings, drawing tools, object snaps, unit precision, and the snap setting. So if you didn't watch part 1, be sure to see the link in the description for this video and watch it before watching the part 1. Also, there are several videos I recommended to watch before doing part 2 just to practice what we've learned in part 1. Now part 2, modify tools and layers. So in this video today we will talk about modifying tools and how to create layers. We're going to learn about layers, how to set the line types, how to set the color assignments, and how to create a new layer to organize the drawings. Also, we're going to talk about modify tools, copy, move, rotate, offset, mirror, trim, scale, and array. After watching this video, I would recommend more set of videos to watch before moving on to the third part of this tutorial. So let's get started. I'm gonna navigate to AutoCAD, and this is a new drawing. I started from scratch here. So I just opened a new drawing, and as we mentioned before, we can change the units by going to the application, drawing utilities units, or simply by typing U and enter in the command line. And from here, we can set the units that we would like to. If you're working with feet and inches, you are always choose architectural if this is your unit that you would like to use. Otherwise, you can choose any other units that goes with your project. Architecture goes with inches and feet and inches. I need to talk about the customization panel here on the right. If you don't find any of the tools on the status part, you can always navigate to here and make sure it's there. For example, if you're looking for the line weight, which is here, so if it's not there, so just make sure you have a check. Also, you have units. If you need to change the units right from here, as you see, I have the units architectural down here that I can change right from down. If you don't have it, or if you don't have any of these, like the dynamic blocks, the object snap, or any of these elements, so make sure to check the customization panel on the right and be sure you have a check mark next to it. Now let's move on to the modify group. For the first one, we have here move. Obviously, from the name move, you can move any elements, any lines, circles, any object that you draw. You can move it from place to place. Then we have copy. You can make multiple copies of any element. Stretch, rotate. You can make a rotation for any angle you decide. You can mirror. Of course, when you go over any of these, if you a little bit stop without clicking, you will find more information about each one. So be sure to stop a little bit without clicking. Like when you hover over mirror, you will get more description that show you what mirror means. Also, you have a scale. Some of these tools have a little arrow next to them. So make sure you click this little arrow because you have more options. So the first one, trim, then extend. Maybe I will tell you we need to use trim. You don't have a trim on the top. So you need to click this little arrow to find the trim or the extend that goes. So here I see extend, but if I click on it, I click on trim. So be sure if there is a little arrow to click on it for more options. Chamfer. Chamfer goes with fillet and blend curves. So if you don't have chamfer, maybe you have fillet, but if you click on this little arrow, you can navigate between the three options. The same thing for array. If you can click here, this little arrow, you'll find different options. You have rectangular array, path, and polar array. So there are three options for the arrays. Now we have delete or erase here. We have explode and offset. Even here, we have an extension menu. If you click on this little arrow, you will find even more options, and each option has some description. If you just hover over it without clicking, you will read more about it. For example, here's a line. If you click on it, a line is align objects with other objects in 2D, 3D, and this align is very useful to move, scale, and rotate at one time. So let's get started and learn a little bit about the modify panel. In order to do that, I'm gonna create a circle. So you go to circle, center radius. I'll keep an eye on the dynamic input, and now I have the dynamic input on. That's why I see some instructions on the screen. If it's off, you will not see these instructions on the screen. So this is depend on you as a learner, if you prefer to have the dynamic input on or off. That depends. I'm gonna use it today, so I'm gonna keep it on for now, but feel comfortable to keep it off if you like. Specify center point. I'm gonna click on any point on the screen on the model space and see now, because I have the dynamic input on, I can see how long or how much is the diameter or the radius of the screen, and then you see here, you see numbers. Now, since I'm using architectural, I can put the units in inches and feet. So if I need the radius of my circle to be, for example, 3 feet, so I put 3, then apostrophe. Okay, so apostrophe means it is feet. If you put quotation, that is inches. If you're using architectural, you have to put the apostrophe for feet, but you don't have to put the quotation marks for inches. If you just type the number, so it is the unit which is inches. So if I needed 3 feet, I need to put 3 apostrophe. Hit enter. Now this is 3 feet. It is small. I can zoom in. Remember from part 1 video, I can zoom in using the middle button of my screen, and I can pan by holding down the middle button of the screen. So pan just to control the screen, and zoom in to feel comfortable while you're drawing. So zoom in will not change any of the dimension, just make you feel comfortable using the drawing. Now I zoomed in, and this is my circle. It is the radius is 3 feet. Now I need to move this circle. I click move. As you see here, select object. Keep your eye on the command line. Select object. What do you want to move? That means select object. What do you want to move? I click this circle. I still have select object because AutoCAD think that you need to select more objects. So when you finish selecting, if you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objects to select, whatever, you can keep selecting. And when you finish, you need to press enter to finish selecting and move on to the next step. Specify base point. Where do you wanna pick your circle to move it? Because when you need to move something, you need to touch it. So you need to touch the circle. Where do you wanna pick it? You need to choose any point. If you have the object to snap on, as I mentioned from part 1, and you have some object snap, I'm gonna use center this time. So make sure you have center. Okay, and this is the center of the circle. So I hover over the circle and pick the center of the circle. So this is the point that I need to pick and move my circle from. Now, specify second point. Where do you wanna move it? Okay, I could move it to the right, top, or any angle. So just you need to select where do you wanna put it after you pick it up. Now, where do you wanna put it? If you do have object snap tracking on, so you will get this line as a reference, and you can type a distance, like if you need to move it 5 feet, you can type 5 feet, or just pick a point and put it. So I moved it to the right 5 feet. So let's do that again. Move, select object, right click or enter to finish selecting, pick a point and then decide where do you want to put it. Give direction, and click, or just put the distance if you need, if you have a specific distance, so you can just type it. Okay, so this is the first one, move. Similar to move, you can copy. Copy, you make another copy of the object. So let's use copy. Copy, select object, this circle, the same thing here that we did for move. Enter or right click to finish selecting. Pick a point. In this case, I'm gonna pick the center. Remember, I have the object snap on with the center on. Okay, so I'm gonna pick the center and I need to make a copy. I could decide here the distance, like if I need to put here 7 feet, so 7 apostrophe enter. So I created a copy. I still have this circle. It's like a rubber band if I need to make more copies. So if I put here 14 feet, I make another copy. If I don't like to put distance, I can zoom in and out and just make several copies. Okay, by just left click, I can make as many copies as I want. When I finish, hit the escape button on your keyboard, and that's it to finish and exit out of the copy command. Let's say that you did several copies and you need to delete some of them. You can open a window and be sure to review my selecting methods video in the channel if you need more information about how to select objects. So here you can select and hit the delete button on your keyboard. So you can select, delete from the keyboard if you have any extra copies. Now, remember, if you do something wrong and you need to undo, you enter to undo. Also, you can undo several steps by going back from here. If I go back, so I will undo several steps. If I redo, I can redo several steps from undo and redo. So we've covered move and copy. Let's do here some other things. I'm gonna draw a rectangle by using the rectangle from the draw panel. And I will pick a point here, specify first point, then I will open here. If you need to put dimensions, that's fine. The length is 5 feet, for example, and the width is 7 feet. So this is my rectangle. Okay. Now I finished this. Let's see how stretch will work. I cannot stretch a circle, but I can stretch other polygons. I can stretch rectangle. Now let's go to stretch. Select object. To stretch, you have to select it in a different way. If you select it the same way we select the circle, we're gonna move. So if I select the rectangle and hit enter to finish selecting, then specify base point. See here, I'm moving. So stretch a little bit work differently because you need to select object as the corner that you need to make the stretch from. And here you need to open the green corner right to left. Okay, this way. When you finish selecting, enter, pick the point, specify base point, and now you can stretch it. So you can make it longer. If I need to stretch the top, stretch, select object. I open the green window, left to select the object. Now hit enter to finish selecting. Pick a point that you want to stretch and go up to stretch. So remember, with a stretch, you need to go with the green window. Okay. Now, if after we finish a stretch, let's talk about rotate. The rotate, I'm gonna draw here a line using line command or L enter, and I need to rotate this line. So if I have rotate, select object the same way I select this line, enter. Base point, where do I want to rotate it? I'll pick a base point. You can pick any point actually. I'm gonna pick the end point and I need to rotate it here. Now, the rotation angle, you need to decide how much is the rotation angle. If I need to rotate it 90 degrees, I'll type 90 and hit enter. So now I rotate that 90 degrees according to the first one. Let's draw another line here. Rotate, pick point, select object, enter, pick the point. Now I can rotate it. Watch how I can go rotate. You can just pick the point and just left click to decide where to rotate, or you can decide like I need 30 degrees, so I type 30, hit enter, so I rotate the from horizontal to 30 degrees. If you rotate negative angles, let's see here. Let's do select object, enter from this point. If I put minus, so let me put here minus 60. Okay, so negative 60, enter, so you go down. So positive will go counterclockwise, negative will go with clockwise. Now, here's the rotation and how it works. You need to select the object, you need to select a point to rotate, and then you need to select the rotation angle. We will talk later about how to rotate according to a reference, but for now, let's talk about the basics only. First, we do have another here, mirror. Mirror, as you see from the description, you're gonna create a reflection of an object according to a mirror line. Let's see. If I have here, I'm gonna draw, for example, a couple of lines. Okay. Now, if I need to mirror that part according to a line that comes from the middle, maybe it's imaginary. I don't have to draw this line, but I just need to have this line, even if it's imaginary and it doesn't really exist. So you can mirror according on any line. So I'm gonna go mirror, select object. I need to mirror these lines and I can select them in any different ways. Okay. When I finish selecting the lines, hit enter. First point of the mirror line on the top and the second point down. Now you have two options, erase source, yes or no. If you click yes, that will erase the first part. If you click no, that will keep the first part and the second part. So I'm gonna make no and hit enter. In this case, I have this line in the middle, but as I told you, it's not really necessary to have it. Okay, like you can do any reflection without having the line. Let's get some other example. For example, here I have a circle. I'll make a copy of this circle. And here I'll drag this point. Okay, let's say that I need to make a reflection of this. So I'm gonna mirror. I click on mirror, pick the object. So everything that I need to mirror, I need to select everything. Now, if I click enter, they will ask me specify a point of mirror line. Now, if I pick this point and this point, that will make a reflection over the horizontal line. No, and here I created another. If I pick a mirror line vertical, so mirror, I will pick these ones, all of them, enter, and here you go. I pick 2 points. Now I mirrored over the vertical line. So it really depends on what you need. If you pick a mirror line, like select object, and let's say that I need to mirror all of this, enter. On this here, and a line like it's 45 degrees on another line. So you can mirror according to the line. So imagine like it's a reflection on an imaginary line or an existing line. So this is how the mirror works. we can select and delete if we don't want these lines. Scale. Scale, from the name, it could change the scale of any shape. For example, I can make it larger or smaller. If I click Scale, again, select Object. Now I will go for this. Let's say that I need to select this tree and scale it. Select Object. When I finish selecting, hit Enter, right-click or spacebar to finish selecting. Base point, you need to choose a point that you need to scale from. Any point will work, but I always recommend using a point inside the object or the corners or the center, like meaningful point that will help you. As you see here, after selecting the point, if I go up and down, I see it is growing, like it's up, being larger or smaller. Okay, now you can type in, like if you need to make it half size, you can type 0.5, enter, so that will make it half. Scale, last, L, enter. Okay, enter, and I will pick a point, for example, and here you go. Now again, scale, enter. If you need to make it larger, like double, 2, enter. That will make it double size. Okay, so here you go. You can make that. So again, scale, P, enter, previous. Okay, that will select the previous thing. Finish selecting, enter. Here, we can make it 3 times. So that will make it larger. So this is how the scale will work. Now, we have trim. For the trim part, let's draw here some lines. Remember, when I use the enter, I can repeat this last command. Now, let's say that I have here several lines and I need to trim some parts. Okay, so I use a trim. And if you don't find the trim, remember there's a little arrow that goes to the extend and trim. So make sure you select it. If you're using 2021, you can write away just to click on the pieces that you need to trim. And this is very useful if you're drawing house plans and you need to trim the walls or any extra lines. So here, make sure you are trimming the extra lines. If you're using 2020 or previous version, so you need to select the cutting edges or select all. So you have cutting edges, you need to select which one is the cutting edge. In this case, if I need to trim that part, so this is my cutting edge. Or you can select all at this point, type A, enter. So everything is selected as a cutting edge, and you can just hit, click on the part that you need to trim. Okay, so here we have several ways. So again, if you go to trim, cutting edge, select all, type A, enter, or just enter to accept select all. And then you can select here, and then you can delete the part. If you're using 2021, you just go ahead and just select any part to trim. With the 2020 or previous versions, some lines you cannot trim. For example, if you have a line alone, you cannot trim it, so you need to delete it with the 2020 or previous version, so you can go and delete. To trim a line, it's supposed to be with cutting edges, and that will make it trimmable. But with the 2021, you can go trim and right away pick any point or any line. So again, trim, cutting edges, select all, enter. Now you can trim any part. Extend, will work the opposite of trim. So if you go to extend, boundary edge, now we'll make the line longer. So this is the boundary edge. Okay, if you click boundary edge, you click the line, and then you can click the lines here and just make it extendable. With the 2021, you don't need even to click on the boundary edge, as it's just to click on the end of the line to extend it. Okay, that depends on the version. So again, extend with the 2020 and the previous versions, click on the boundary edges, select the lines to extend to. Okay, when you finish, hit enter, then you can click on the lines to extend. However, if you are using 2021, just extend, and that will extend to any edges as you are moving to. Now this is extend and the trim, as you see here, they are going together. And you do have fillets, chamfer, and the blend curves. So here, the fillet, if you don't find fillets, make sure you click on this little arrow. We will talk about the modify with the exercises when we apply this knowledge to other exercises. But in this video, I'm just trying to introduce you to the tools, and be sure to watch the videos in the description to get more information about how to use these tools in drawings. Now let's see the fillet. The fillet will make some curves. Okay, so if you click on fillet, you need to make sure that you choose the radius. A lot of students miss this point and they don't know why they don't get the fillet correctly. So you have to click on radius or type R, enter, and choose the correct radius. So if I put here radius, specify the radius. The last radius you have, you will find it on the command line. Or if you have the dynamic input, you find it on the screen. But if you need to change that, let's say that I need the radius here to be 3 feet, so I need to type it 3 apostrophe 4 feet. And remember, only you can use the feet if you're using the architecture. If you're using decimals, you don't need feet. Okay, so make sure you change the units if you need to put feet and inches. Now, after you put the 3 feet, enter, select first object, you click on the first line, and select second object, you click on the second line. As you see here, I got this curve, and this curve is fillet, and the radius is 3. I'm gonna draw a rectangle, okay, and I will use fillet. Radius, if I need to keep it 3, I just hit enter. If I need to change the radius, I have to go to the radius. Now I pick the first point and the second point. Hit enter. First, second, enter. Now, if I need to have all the corners of the rectangle have fillet on the same time, so I will draw the rectangle. I go to fillet, radius 3. Let's make the 3.5 feet, enter. Now I can make it polyline because rectangle is polyline. It's not segment, it's not lines, it's not segments. So it is one solid rectangle. So you can click on polyline and then click on the rectangle. So you will have all fillet on one click instead of going over the corners, and that will save you some time. So remember, if you have a polyline, you can get fillet by clicking on the polyline. If you need to draw a polyline, you can get a polyline from the draw tools. Polyline, as you see here, I can draw a polyline, and see here it is solid. However, if you go to line and I draw the same here, okay, this is segment. So this is the difference here. This is polyline and this is lines. So if you have fillet, radius, let's accept the corner, Polyline, click, you get it all one line, all of them curved at the same time. However, if they are segments, you cannot do that, like fillet polyline, you click here, it's not polyline, so you cannot select it. So be sure if you have a polyline, it could be drawn as a polyline, not line. Under fillet, you have chamfer. Chamfer will make lines here, like corners. Let's do that. So select the first line. I will choose here, I will show you on this exercise angle and distance. So chamfer distance. The first chamfer distance I put here 3 feet, enter. And the second 4 feet, enter. Then we'll ask you to choose 2 lines, as you see here. This is the first line. Second line, another enter to repeat. Okay, so here, this is the first distance and the second distance that you just put on the distance. Now, again, I'm gonna show you here the chamfer angle. Okay, so this is another way to choose chamfer angle. Specify chamfer length on the first. I will use, so you need to have length and angle. So if I got 5 feet as a length and the angle I needed 45, enter. So select first line, which you need 5 feet on it. So this is the one. And this is the second. So they will get 5 feet, then we'll make 45 degrees line. Again, I'm gonna put it on the second here. So chamfer angle, I'll put the first distance here. So the first distance I will pick 10 feet and the angle 30, enter. I'll pick, this is the first, so I need 10 feet and here I need 30 degrees. So this is 10 feet and 30 degrees line. So this is the way we use chamfer. Let's move to array, and as you see here, we do have rectangular, path, and polar array. Okay. First, I'm gonna create a square, and let's make the dimensions 5 feet, enter, 5 feet. Let's make that square and enter. Okay, so I created here a square 5 feet by 5 feet. Now let's get array. You click on the polar array or rectangular array first. Let's start with rectangular array. Select objects. I select that one. Hit enter. You see that it opened for me here a rectangular array, and now it is associative. I will show you what the difference between associative and non-associative. So stay tuned to this video, and also make sure to watch the videos in the description of these videos for more practice about the array. Here I have the number of columns. As you see, they are 4. I'm gonna make them, for example, 5. If I need to make that 5, as you see, it's added here sometime. Between, this is the distance, 7 feet 6 inches. This is the distance here, 7 feet 6 inches. If I need it more, like 10 feet, I can make that 10 feet. Rows, I have 3 rows for now. I can make them, the rows now, they are 3. I can make them 4. Okay, so I'm adding a row. Also, I can decrease or increase the distance. Let's make that 6 feet. You see, they are closer. If you make that 6 feet, they are closer. So you can just customize the dimension. When you finish, you click close array. And as you see now, we have an array. If I click on it, I can modify, and that is associative. It's still an array. I can use here the grips to modify. By clicking the grips here, I can add more columns, as you see here. I can add more rows by clicking these grips. I can still change the the distance between the rows and the columns. So this is associative. But if I need to delete one of them, I cannot delete one. You can actually edit source, but we're not going to cover this in this video. But you can edit, but we cannot change one of them. So if I need to delete one part, if I click on it, I cannot delete one part. So now I'm gonna show you how to make it unassociative, and let's see the difference. So let's make another rectangle or another square. And now let's go to array, rectangular array, select the enter. And here I have the columns. You can feel free to change here the rows and columns. You can change the distance. And now I'm gonna delete that. So I will turn off the associative. It's not associative. Okay. So I click close array. Now look at that. When you click on any of these rectangles, you can delete them, you can change them. That is different than this. Here, when you click, you get the whole array. But if you click on that part, it is a separate part and you can easily delete it or change it. So here is the difference between associative and unassociative arrays. If you need to make this unassociative to modify, the unassociative is not here anymore. But what you can do in this case, you can edit source or you can explode. So I will show you here the explode command. You click explode, select object, you can explode that part and hit enter. Now it is unassociative and you can delete the part. So explode command will explode any um, associative array or any polygon to parts. Let's say here we have this polygon or this polygon, we can explode it. X enter or explode. Okay. So this one, it's all segments. So we can explode, click on it, enter. Now it is part. Okay, so explode command will explode any polygon or any associative array. Now we need to talk about array, polar array. Also, I recommend watching the videos in the description for more exercises about polar array. Let's draw a circle here, and I need to make polar array. That means repeating this circle around a center. So I go to polar array, click on this circle, select object, finish selecting, enter. Specify the center of the array. Now, this center is not the center of the circle. It's the circle of the polar array that you need to get all the circles around. A lot of students make this point, so they click the center of the circle. And in this case, we do not need the center of the circle. We need the center of the polar array that you need to go around it. Here you can also change the items numbers, like how many you need. If I need more, I put more. Distance between and the fill. Here we have the fill. Now it is 360 degrees. If you put it 180 degrees, that will make it 180. So that will change the directions. You can change the directions if you need to change the directions here. Okay, you can change the directions. You can make it associative. As we mentioned before, the same thing, like associative, it's still one part, so you cannot edit unless you explode it, or you can edit part of it. So after you finish this, as I said, you can change the number of the items, you can change the fill in. If I make the 5, so I have more spaces, then you can close it, and this is the polar array. The path array, the last one is the path array. Here you need a path, which is usually It's supposed to be something like polyline or zip line, for example. Let's draw here a zip line. Okay, from a draw, and I'm gonna draw a little circle. I'm gonna draw here a circle. So this is the array, which is again a path array. So select object. I need to get this circle. When you finish selecting, because AutoCAD thinks that you still have more to select. So when you finish selecting, hit enter. The path is this. Okay, so this is the line, is the path that you want. And then when you finish here, if you need to make it from the beginning till the end, you can get the measure and divide. Okay, that will divide it from the beginning till the end of the line. And you can change the items like the way we did with others. You can make it 10. Okay, you can make it 8. You can make any other here. Change this, customize it to the way you want it. You can change also directions. Like you can, if you have other directions in some other drawings, you can change direction. Now you can close that array. And as you see here, with this array, you can change the okay, you can change that. If you need it to be associative with this, so you have to do this way. As you see, it doesn't go. So if you need it to be associative, you can do it associative from the beginning. Like from now, I cannot change it to be associative with the line. So let's draw another line using a zip line or polyline. I'm gonna make it with polyline this time. Okay, so this polyline, I'll draw a little circle again. Now you can go to array, path. Okay, here here you need to make that associative, and I can make that dividend just to make sure it is from the beginning. I can divide it to the beginning at the end. If you need it to be more or less, you can change that number. Okay, now when you make it associative, then you close. Then if you go change dot lines, you see here that the circles will move with the lines. So see here the difference between the first one, which is unassociative, and you see that the circles are separate and they are not following the line. However, with the second one, it following the lines. And if you change here, for example, if you can make 5 and save. Okay, so you can still modify it and it will change with the lines, following your lines since it is associative. Now we've talked about move, copy, stretch. Remember with the stretch you have the green window to get the stretch. Also see here the description. So you need to have a crossing window, which is the green window. Otherwise, you will make it moving, not stretching. So this is rotate, mirror, scale, extend, and trim. Chamfer and fillet. Array, which is polar, rectangular, and path. We've talked about arrays last time. Just by selecting anything, you can delete it or erase it. Explode, which is make separate lines from a polyline or associative array. Also, we have the offset, which is the last thing we need to talk about in the modify group. Offset is very useful, especially when we draw house plan, for example, if you need to draw lines or walls. Let's say that I have here 10 feet, enter. Let's draw here a line, 10 feet, enter. Now we go down 10 feet, okay. and C, enter to close. Now, if we need to make here offset, let's say that this is a room 10 feet by 10 feet and we need to offset walls 5 inches. So we get offset. From here, we need to decide how much we need to offset. In this case, I need 5. So I type 5, enter. Then I select the line. Then direction, do you need it up or down? So line, direction, and hit left click. Line, direction. So I'm offsetting this. If you have a rectangle or a polyline, offset, decide the distance, 5 inches. If it's 5 inches, you can click enter to accept it. Click on the lines. You can offset up or offset down. So click and select the direction we're doing offset. A similar way, if you have a circle, then offset, pick the distance. You can type it here if you need to change it, like 10. Now pick the circle, then the direction. Okay, you can inside or outside. Remember here, if it's walls, so we need to trim. So you can go trim, TR, enter, or just trim. You select cutting edges. If you're using 2021, you don't have to do anything. Just go ahead and trim. Otherwise, cutting edges, hit enter to select all. And then you just zoom in to pick the points. Also, you can cut this way. Okay, by picking the point, as you see, I'm doing this way. Okay, so here you go. We've learned in this exercise the modify tools. We need to talk about one more thing before we close down. Part 2. We need to talk about the layers. Layers is very important component of AutoCAD. We need to organize our work in layers. Also, I really recommend doing the drawings. I recommend them in the description to practice more about creating layers. So let's see what layers mean. The first thing, they are a group layer here, or the panel layers. You have layer properties, and here is the current layer. If I open there, we just have the 0 layer, which is by default created by AutoCAD. We will click on layers properties, and here we can Control N or Alt N, or just click my little icon here, new layer, and you find that you inserted layer. You can click on comma to add a new layer. So let's give it a name, okay? Circles. So I need to put the circles on one layer, and this here, the color assignment, I click on the color and I need it to be red. Okay, this is the line type, continuous. I will keep this one continuous, and the line weight by default. Now I will click another one and give it a name. For example, shapes. Okay, and I will give it another color. Okay, I will give it line type. So I click here under line type. I click on load, and I'll choose the line type that I want. Let's say dash dots, and see here we have dash dots, long, small. We do have several. Also, we do have hidden if you scroll down, which is the most used one. Okay, so this is the hidden, the one with dash. So let's click on hidden for this and click OK. So it comes there. We still need to select it and click OK. So it's not enough to bring it here. We need to select it. So load it first if it's not there. Click on it and then select it. Now it is hidden. Let's close that out. And as you see, I still have 0. But if you click now here, you see circles and shape. If I click on circles, So now it is current. So that will make it the current layer. If I draw circle now, it is red and it's drawn on the circle layer. If I draw another shape, I need to move to the shapes layer and draw shapes. Okay, let's say that I need to draw polygon. Enter number, I'm gonna make it a 3. The center in script, and this is a triangle. Now it is green because it's on the shapes layer. What happens if I go back to layers and change that to yellow? Okay, so everything on that will be changed. If I change that to other colors, like see here, so any color you choose, that will reflect and change everything in that layer. It's very important to create layers and organize your project. For example, if you are drawing a house plan, all walls should be on a layer, windows on a separate layer. So you need to create unique layers for windows, doors, walls, furniture, dimensions, text, and the more you'll be organized, the more your project will be professional. Now, what happens if I already created these circles and I need to move them to a new layer? I can click on the circle, which is already on the 0 layer. Now click on this little arrow and click on circle. So that will move it to the circle layer. So if I click on there, it is on the circle. If I need to select all circles, click on that, right click. Now you can select similar. So you see that I got selected these circles, and then you can move them to the circles layers. If you have shapes or polar arrays or any other things, you need to move them to a new layer. So you can select, for example, here, if I need to move these to the shapes, select them, go to shapes. Okay, so this circle, circles. Okay, so again, if you need to select more circles, select one, right click, select similar. So you select all of these circles, we select similar, then you can move them to the circle layer. Okay. So in this video, we've talked about the modify tools, layers, how to create layers, how to assign color assignment, line type. We've talked about copy, move, rotate, offset, mirror, trim, scale, and arrays. We've talked about several types of arrays, how to make it associative and unassociative, how to create polar arrays, rectangular and path arrays. So please, after watching this video, please see the recommendations on my description below this video. So what you need to do next, and stay tuned. I'm gonna publish part 3 soon. Please subscribe to my channel to be notified when I publish the 3rd part. Thank you for watching. Have a good time.